When we first open Alice, we get this screen with our templates and we can start a new world. What we're going to do today for our lesson is learn to position objects on the screen, on our startup screen for our program. And so first we're going to do an island like we did in class. So we'll start off with water and open. And here we can see in this screen there's our water and our sky. Now we need to find an island, and so to do that we're going to click Add Objects, this little green rectangle here. And when we do that, our world expands to fill a better portion of the screen, and objects appear down below. And here in Environments I can see the island, so I'm going to go ahead and click on Environments. I could also do a search like we did in class to find the island, and scroll through here. There's my island right there. I can just drag it up and drop it, or when I clicked on it, this little window came up, so I could say Add Instance to World. And there's my island. And the camera kind of zoomed off to a different spot, put the island in place, and then zoomed back. I want to have a fish swimming next to my island, and so my island is a little too big for me right now, so I'm going to shrink it down some. So I'm going to click this button here where it says Resize Objects with the mouse, and click on that to make it resizing, and then click on the island and drag to resize. I'd say that's a pretty good size. You make yours whatever size you're comfortable with, as long as there's room for your fish. Now I need to find the fish, and so I'm going to go back to home, and notice when I go to home there's these three folders that show up. There's the local gallery, which is the things that are installed on my computer. There's the web gallery, which are things I can go out to the internet and get. And then there's the custom gallery. Let's click on that. There's nothing there. That's because I've never created any custom things. And as I understand, it's not a simple task, so I probably never will. But the local and the web gallery are available to me, and I can go to the local gallery and look for fish. There should be an animals folder here somewhere. There's a farm folder. School Japan, kitchen lights, math, medieval, nature. Could be in nature. Ocean. Let's try that. And we used a goldfish in class. Let's use a big fish too this time. So this time what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag him up there instead of clicking and saying Add Instance to the World. So I'll put him right there. Now, this fish appears to be flying. That's not really what I want. So can I bring him down? No. When I move the mouse up and down here, it seems to make the fish bigger and smaller. Why is that? Well, it's because my resize button is clicked over here. So let me put it on the arrow button, which is for moving objects. And now when I move the mouse down, the fish doesn't go down, it goes closer to me. When I move it up, it doesn't go up, it goes farther away from me. Well, that's not what I want at all. So I'm going to click Quad View here. And since I'm in Quad View, now I'm going to guess that from the front, and yes, from the front I can bring the fish up and down in the water. And so if I put him completely underwater, of course I can't see him, so I don't really want to do that. I'll have his top half or so sticking out of the water, and I did that from the front view. What happens if I did it from the right view? I could do exactly the same thing. Those two views allow me to move the fish up and down. And let's go ahead and play the world just to see what it looks like. And that's basically what I was trying to accomplish. I've got my fish partially submerged in the water and my island. If you want to save your world, go ahead and click Save. Well, click X out of it first, X out of the play screen. And I'm not interested in saving this one. I'm going to move on to the snowman stacking that we tried to do in class. We had some problems with because of the way the windowing was working that day. So I'm going to X out of here. After making the island and the fish, we're going to make some worlds with snowmen. So all you do is click File, New World, and your templates will come up. Click the snow template and open. We have to add snowmen, so click Add Objects, this green rectangle again. And I'm not sure where they put the snowman here, so I'm going to do a search on it and type, get the cursor in this little rectangle here, and then type snowman. Snowman. Or you could also use snow women. They're both in the gallery. And there it found my snowman. Took a little while because my list wasn't loaded into RAM. So I'm just going to drag him up here and drop him. And I want two of them, so I'm going to drag another one up and drop him. And what I want to do is stack one on top of the other one's head. And if I just try and take this and drag it up, notice when I move my mouse up, what it does is it moves the snowman away from me. Again, we're working in 3 dimensions, but I'm using a 2-dimensional board to drag my mouse across, so that doesn't work very well. So what I can do instead, there's a few ways I can get him raised up. What I'm going to do is click over here on the right on this button that says Move Objects Up and Down, which is the one right after the arrow button. So click on that. Now when I click on the snowman and move him up, he goes up. Problem is I can't move him left and right. He's now stuck there. So I'm going to hang him right there for now, and that'll keep him at that height. Then I'm going to click back on the arrow button and drag him over like this. He appears to be on top of the other snowman's head, but I'm not quite sure if he is, so I'm going to click quad view and see if he ends up there when I look at it from other angles. And yes, he pretty much is. He could move over just a tiny little bit here. I'm going to move him a little bit on that dimension. And now he's pretty much perfectly centered over the other snowman's head. This did not work in the class, and I finally figured out what the problem was. On that computer I was using, it does not have the capacity to have the screen resolution that Alice needs. And so it made these 4 windows far too small, and I was not able to see the snowman in 3 of those windows. So I'll have a different, I'm going to borrow Ruthie's laptop next time, and we'll be able to use that. One thing I want to do with the snowman, other than just stack them on each other's heads, notice when I look down at them, I only see one set of arms. That's because they're perfectly on top of one another, lined up on top of one another. I'm going to twist the top snowman. So I'm going to do right click on here, methods, turn, left, 1/4 revolution. And he made a left turn, perfect left turn. And now I can see here you've got 4 arms going 4 different ways. Okay, that's all we wanted to do with snowmen stacking. If you want to save your world, you can. I'm going to click File, New World, and then it's going to prompt me and ask if I want to save it. No, I don't need this, so I'm just going to hit No and let it open up a new world. We're going to work with snowmen again in this next world. So Snow, Open. And add objects. This time I want 4 snowmen, so I'm going to drag my snowmen up here. I'll start off with 2, and then I'll get some more in a bit. Now, we're going to learn how to use some of these other buttons over here on the right. I'm going to click the turn left and right button. Notice when I click on the snowman and drag left and right, it causes the snowman to spin. Makes sense, turn left and right. Then I'm going to click turn forwards and backwards. Notice what happens now when I click on the snowman and move the mouse up and down. It spins around its center like that. Now, if I leave him laying down like that and then go back to click left and right, he now turns like this. Okay, so you can use those ideas to manipulate an object the way you want to move it. If we click the tumble button, it doesn't seem to do anything very interesting. But let's change the way the snowman is oriented a little bit. Let's click the move left and right button and get him at a little different angle here. and then click the tumble button and click on it, and his movement gets a little more interesting. I can, by moving the mouse left and right and up and down, it goes in all different directions. I would recommend you, like with everything else, take some time and play with it. Get used to using these controls. What we're going to do now is get 4 snowmen and arrange them like steps. So I'm going to undo those last movements. And the steps are going to look kind of like this. So you know what I think I'm going to do? To make it a little easier on myself, I'm just going to remove this snowman and hit delete. And he goes off into nothingness. Now I'm going to take this snowman and copy him. So an easy way to do that is to hit the copy button and click this 1, 2, 3 times. That gives me my 4 snowmen, and they're all oriented basically the way I want. They're all laying down like that, so I can easily make them into steps. And now click the Move Objects Freely button. I would like to lift them up, but of course I can't do that unless I click the up and down button. So, whoops, I clicked the ground instead. Well, that makes it a little easier. I'll just move the ground down a little farther. Now I can click the snowman and move him up, and click a snowman, and I'll move him up to there, and another one, and move him up to there. Then go back and click my arrow, and I can take a snowman and put him out here. Now I'm wishing my snowmen were a little bit smaller. Maybe I'll bring this one back here and click the up and down button and bring him down a little lower than the first one. Now back to my arrow, arrange it like that. Now I'm not sure if these are really lined up the way I think, remembering that this is a 3-dimensional picture and I can only see 2 dimensions at a time unless I hit quad view. So I'm going to hit quad view and see that they really aren't lined up the way I want. These 3 aren't too bad. The 4th one doesn't look good, so I'm going to click on him and put him there. And the other 3 are pretty good. Maybe this one could move over a little bit. Okay, so now my 4 snowmen, I'm going to play the world, are arranged kind of like steps. And that's a little bit of a challenge to do that. I'm going to take this snowman now and tell him to look at the other snowmen and see what he does. So I'll right click on him. Oh, I can't do that when I'm playing the world, sorry. I'm going to go back to single view so we have a little bigger picture. Right click on him, snowman 4, pick my methods, say snowman 4, turn to face. How about we'll tell him to turn to face snowman 2. And I can tell him to face a particular part of snowman 2 if I want. I'm just going to tell him to face the entire snowman 2. And there he goes. He has turned to face snowman 2. Now there was another method that was similar to that said point at. So let's see what that one does. Methods, snowman 4, point at snowman 2, the entire snowman. And now he is pointing at snowman 2. Now which one is snowman 2? I can click on this to find out. And snowman 2 is this one here that's in the middle of the 3. So telling an object to point at another object or face another object can be quite useful when you're arranging characters in your movie. That's all the exercises I have for you today, but that doesn't mean you should stop there. Try some different things, play with it, and have fun.